Hi, it's Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com.au, where we provide tailor-made solutions for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies by improving their quality of life, and where we also provide tailor-made solutions to hospitals and intensive care units to save money and resources while providing quality care. In last week's blog, I shared home instead of intensive care, a before and after case study. You can check out last week's update by clicking on the link below this video. In this week's blog, I want to share with you 6 things nobody has ever told you about long-term ventilation with tracheostomy at home. If intensive care at home services for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies still remain a mystery for you, and if you are still wondering whether services would be an option for your intensive care unit or for your family member, today I want to give you further insights and clarity about home intensive care services. For many of you watching this video, you would either only ever have worked in a clinical and not a home intensive care environment, and if you happen to be a family member watching this, you would certainly want to make sure that you are making the right choice for your loved one. I break it down into 6 simple and important components so that you get a feel of what we can do for our clients and their families. Number 1. Quality of life in a home care environment for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies is achievable, doable and possible. Number 2. Weaning off the ventilator for certain types of conditions. For example, Guillain-Barré syndrome is doable and achievable at home as well. No need to keep somebody in intensive care for up to 6 months and occupy an expensive ICU bed and leave patients and their families with no quality of life. Number 3. Patients blossom once they are taken out of a sterile, depressing, inhibiting and limiting intensive care environment. Imagine you are stuck in intensive care for many weeks or many months and you can finally go home. Anybody who has witnessed a transition from intensive care to home can confirm that. Number 4. Compared to Australia, long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies in Europe are able to leave intensive care and go home much earlier and on a big scale. That frees up expensive intensive care beds, minimizes costs and provides patients and families with an improved quality of life. Therefore, Australia is still lacking behind. Intensive care at home is the first fully accredited service provider in Australia who is changing that and makes things happen. Number 5. Intensive care at home for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomy is evidence-based, and plenty of research in the field has been done to prove the concept. It's a genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care. After all, more than 15 years of intensive care at home services is more than a long and proven track record. Check out the link below this video for more information. Number 6. Long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomy in a home care environment are able to either go back to school, university or even part-time work if we let them. I have been involved in getting children back to school, or some adults go back to work part-time even though they had a tracheostomy and were ventilator dependent. We just need to create the environment for it. A lot more is possible if we take the barriers that are created in intensive care down. Even if patients are not in a position to be productive, home is still the better alternative, as usually their family members can be productive and go back to work rather than spending day and night in intensive care. What are your thoughts? Do you think that intensive care units can offer what a home care environment can't? Leave your thoughts and comments on the blog here. Please also note that intensive care at home has been selected as a preferred provider for Queensland Health Services as part of the recent Hospital in the Home tender. Intensive care at home will also be a sponsor in the upcoming International Tracheostomy Symposium 2014 on the 8th of October in Melbourne at the Convention and Exhibition Centre. Please come and visit us there. Also, check out the ANZIC's 2014 breakfast sessions on Friday the 10th of October 2014 in Melbourne, where I will be giving a presentation about our services. You can check it out on the link below the video. You can also contact me on 041 094 2230 if you want to know more about how we can help you, your intensive care unit and your patients and families. Thank you for tuning into this week's blog. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com.au, and I'll see you again next week in another update.